Children look to their parents for love and care. While society readily identifies the scars of physical abuse, verbal patterns are too often dismissed as temporary, assumed to be just words that will simply fade away. The data reveals a different reality. In 2008, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services reported that over 50,000 children were officially documented as victims of emotional abuse. By documenting these cases, the federal government categorizes specific verbal behaviors as clinical trauma. This official classification recognizes that toxic language poses a measurable threat to a child's healthy development. A parent's daily language provides the psychological ground floor for a developing mind. When that language becomes toxic, it dismantles the three core pillars of the human psyche: identity, security, and trust. To understand how the adult mind is compromised, we have to look at the 8 specific linguistic tools parents use to break these pillars down. The attack on identity often begins with offensive remarks about physical appearance. When a parent degrades a child's body image, they force the child to view their own physical self as a source of shame. This is reinforced by absolute statements. Calling a child stupid, useless, or a loser strips away nuance and causes the child to internalize these insults as permanent, unchangeable facts about their character. Parents then weaponize the child's environment by making unhealthy comparisons to siblings or cousins. Asking, "Why can't you be more like them?" turns family affection into a zero-sum game. The fallout is visible in the child's behavior. Intense physical insecurity often manifests as eating disorders, while constant comparisons breed deep, lifelong resentments between siblings. By attacking a child's sense of self-worth from multiple angles, a parent ensures the child grows up believing they are incapable of being enough. The second pillar, security, falls when a parent attacks a child's right to exist. Expressing regret over a child's birth or stating they wish they had an abortion shatters the child's sense of physical and emotional safety. Parents reinforce this insecurity by threatening abandonment. Telling a child, "I'll just disappear," or "I'll leave you," instills a persistent terror that their support system could vanish at any moment. When parents frame the child as a financial or emotional burden, the child learns to hide their basic needs and problems. They become hypervigilant, attempting to remain invisible to avoid triggering the parent's wrath. This lack of security has severe secondary consequences. Data from Nemours Children's Health links the specific absence of affection to acting out behaviors, including stealing and physical abuse. These remarks create a severe existential threat. When a child learns that their mere presence is an inconvenience, they lose their fundamental sense of belonging, a loss that frequently leads to early depression and self-harm. The third pillar, trust, is destroyed through behavioral manipulation that makes the world feel unpredictable and deceptive. Sarcastic, provocative questions like, "Why do you walk that way?" force a child into a state of hypervigilant self-monitoring. They become trapped by the fear that others are constantly noticing the flaws their parents invented. Trust is further eroded by empty promises. Offering rewards that never arrive acts as a recurring psychological betrayal, teaching the child that even the most basic commitments can be broken. This isolation makes the child terrified of social interaction. They carry the weight of these projected flaws into adulthood, convinced that observers are judging them as harshly as their parents did. By destroying trust, parents teach their children the most tragic lesson of all. If you cannot rely on the people who gave you life, the world is an inherently unsafe place. Childhood eventually ends, but the psychological blueprint created by these 8 behaviors becomes permanently and unconsciously ingrained. This manifests in adult relationships as a paralyzing fear of abandonment. Survivors often find it impossible to trust romantic partners, waiting for the moment they will inevitably be left behind. The adult survivor continues to view their natural personality through the fabricated lens their parents constructed decades ago. Language provides the internal architecture for our adult behavior and emotional well-being. These verbal blueprints define how we perceive ourselves and interact with the world long after we've left the family home. Breaking this cycle requires immense mindfulness from parents. By identifying and sharing these invisible forms of abuse, we can validate survivors and encourage future parents to be more mindful of the world they are building with their words.